Picture this, a night so dark that even the stars seem to hold their breath. And in that darkness, a whisper, a signal from the edge of forever. I'm Michio Kaku, and tonight, what I'm about to show you may redefine everything we think we know about life, death, and the universe itself. October 21st, 2025. The James Webb Space Telescope, humanity's most advanced eye in the cosmos, points its infrared instruments toward a seemingly ordinary object, an interstellar visitor cataloged as 3IATLAS, a name that, until this moment, meant little more than another cold speck among billions. But what Webb captured that night was not natural. The first data packet arrived at 2:14 UTC, then another and another. At first, the team at the Space Telescope Science Institute thought they were looking at standard cometary spectra, silicates, carbon compounds, the usual suspects. But as the analysis deepened, something emerged from the noise, something impossible. Instead of chaotic molecular signatures, the spectrograph displayed geometry. Not random spikes or organic curves, but exact mathematical intervals. 127 meters repeating, symmetrical energy peaks spaced like the harmonics of a machine. It was as if someone or something had carved precision into light itself. And then came the symmetry. Every reflection, every emission line mirrored across a central axis, as if engineered. Natural comets don't do that. Nature is messy, random, beautiful, but chaotic. Yet this was deliberate. At first, the scientists refused to believe it. Calibration error, cosmic ray hits, instrumental ghosting. They checked everything. The optics, the cryocoolers, the detectors, nothing. The data was clean, flawless, reproducible across multiple instruments. By dawn, one unspoken conclusion hung in the air like static. This wasn't a comet. It wasn't even geological. It was designed. The press release never came. Behind closed doors, astrophysicists whispered a phrase that hadn't been spoken aloud since the age of Galileo. We might be looking at something made. They called it the ghost ship hypothesis, a possibility so staggering that it bordered on madness. An ancient autonomous machine, drifting between stars, powered by something older than civilization itself. Imagine a vessel the size of a mountain, hollow at its core, moving with such precision it ignores the gravitational whispers of worlds. No heat signatures, no chemical decay, no organic life, just structure, perfect, self-consistent mathematical structure. And yet, as it approached the sun, it began to change. Infrared spectra fluctuated. Metallic emission lines shifted in rhythm, pulsing every 8.7 hours, the same as its rotation period. It was as though the interior of the object was awakening, reconfiguring, preparing for something, a mechanical heartbeat, faint but real. If this sounds like science fiction, remember, every great discovery begins as heresy. When Galileo turned his telescope to the skies, he didn't see angels. He saw moons orbiting Jupiter. When we turned ours to the void, perhaps we didn't find comets. Perhaps we found ghosts. For weeks, the data continued to flow. JWST recorded new infrared harmonics. The Chandra X-ray Observatory picked up faint but structured emissions, regular as clockwork. On Earth, radio telescopes from Chile to Hawaii synchronized, searching for modulation, any sign that these harmonics carried information. Then, just past midnight UTC, something extraordinary happened. The harmonics stopped. For 7 minutes, 3I/ATLAS went completely silent. No emissions, no reflections, nothing. And then it pulsed once. A deep, narrow band burst at 1,420 megahertz, the hydrogen line, the same frequency used by SETI to listen for extraterrestrial communication. History repeated itself. Because in 1977, at Ohio State's Big Ear Observatory, a similar signal had been detected, a 72-second transmission centered on that same frequency, the famous WOW signal. And now, nearly half a century later, this object, the so-called ghost ship, emitted its own echo. Coincidence or continuity? Dr. Avi Loeb's team at Harvard went back to the archives. They ran trajectory simulations projecting 3I/ATLAS backward through space and time. And what they found made even the most rational among them shiver. When traced millions of years into the past, the object's path intersected, almost perfectly, with the coordinates of that 1977 signal. The statistical probability, less than 1%, but possible. If you were an intelligent species wanting to leave a mark, to point to something in the sky, what better way than a message on the hydrogen line, followed millennia later by an artifact that passes that exact spot? A signal, then a sign, a map, and a messenger. But perhaps the most haunting question wasn't who sent it, but why now? As the object neared the sun, its reconfiguration accelerated. Spectral lines began to split into triplets as if internal components were rearranging. The once stable rotation now oscillated, subtle but measurable. To the untrained eye, these were just fluctuations. To a physicist, they looked like preparation. For what? Transmission, deployment, awakening? The data refused to answer. But one truth was undeniable. The object was reacting to its environment, to the sun, to us. We are used to thinking of space as indifferent, a stage where we play alone. But what if we've never been alone? What if we've simply never looked deeply enough to see the others watching? For days, the global scientific community fractured. Some demanded the data be made public. Others argued for silence, fearing panic. Governments quietly convened, recalling the lessons of 1938, when a single radio broadcast about alien invasion had plunged a nation into chaos. But this was no fiction. This was real. And somewhere, 200 million kilometers away, a silent machine drifted past the orbit of Mars, its surface glittering like fractured glass, its interior alive with shifting geometry. Its trajectory was perfect, too perfect. Every gravitational perturbation, every solar wind gust seemed compensated for in advance, as if the object was anticipating the universe around it. Then came the second anomaly, the anti-tail. Comets, when active, release jets of gas and dust that always trail away from the sun, pushed by solar radiation. But 3I/ATLAS was different. Its jet pointed toward the sun, against physics, against reason. The data was verified by multiple orbiters around Mars, NASA's MRO, ESA's Trace Gas Orbiter, and Mars Express. Each recorded the same phenomenon, a narrow jet aligned precisely toward the solar vector as if drawing energy from it. To maintain that formation without altering trajectory, the object would need mass on the order of tens of billions of tons, yet it moved through space like a feather. No recoil, no deviation, as if inertia had been rewritten. You see, when physics stops obeying itself, two things can be true. Either our instruments are broken, or our understanding is. And the instruments, it turned out, were fine. That's when the tone shifted. NASA scientists began whispering about self-propulsion mechanisms, electromagnetic fields, photon pressure manipulation, or even magneto-hydrodynamic drives. But others saw something else, a pattern too elegant for mere technology, a kind of cosmic choreography that blurred the line between machine and organism. Could it be alive, not biologically but structurally, an intelligence of matter itself? Carl Sagan once said, "The universe is not required to be in perfect harmony with human ambition." Maybe this is what he meant. A civilization older than ours by millions of years might not build ships with engines. They might grow them, programmed matter, quantum architecture, machines that remember their creators long after they are gone. Perhaps what we are seeing is not invasion nor exploration, but archaeology, a relic drifting through the cosmic sea, echoing a civilization that burned bright and vanished before our sun was even born. And perhaps, just perhaps, this relic has now detected us. As 3I/ATLAS neared perihelion, a final burst of data came through before the blinding solar glare consumed it. Spectral analysis revealed something stunning. Nickel outnumbering iron, a reversal never seen in any natural object. Nickel, the element used in magnetic alloys, superconductors, and batteries, the building block of machines, and then nothing. Silence. The object vanished behind the sun. Every telescope on Earth fell blind. Every radio dish deafened by solar interference. For the next 5 weeks, humanity waited. We built our instruments, we recalibrated our detectors, we prepared to catch even the faintest flicker when the object emerged again in December. And as the world waited, an unspoken tension grew between wonder and dread, because deep down we all knew what this meant. If the object reappears changed, brighter, dimmer, fragmented, or reorganized, it will tell us what it is. If it remains silent, it will tell us something even more profound. For in science, silence is never empty. It is eloquence. Sometimes the universe doesn't shout its truths. It whispers them. And if we are wise enough, we listen. But there is a darker interpretation, one that haunts even the most rational among us, the dark forest theory. In a cosmos where life is rare and survival uncertain, every civilization hides, because to announce your existence is to invite danger. To speak is to risk being heard by something older, stronger, and utterly indifferent. So what if this ghost ship, this 3IATLAS, is not a messenger, but a warning, a silent reminder from those who spoke once and were silenced forever? For now we do not know, but soon we will. In December it will step out from behind the sun once more, and when it does, the question will no longer be what it is, but who it remembers. Because perhaps it's not just passing by, perhaps it's coming home. The silence after the sun was absolute. For 37 days, the universe seemed to hold its breath. No signal, no reflection, no trace of 3I/ATLAS. But silence in science is never the end. It is the inhale before revelation. And then, on December 3rd, at 3:12 UTC, the first whisper came through, a faint optical pulse caught by the Subaru telescope in Hawaii. At first, astronomers dismissed it as an imaging artifact, a cosmic ray strike, but the pattern repeated. Every 8.7 hours, the same rhythmic flare appeared on precisely the same vector. Atlas had returned, and it was different. The object's brightness was no longer constant. It surged, fivefold brighter than before perihelion, and then dimmed with clock-like precision. Spectroscopy revealed something even stranger. The emission lines had changed completely. Gone were the chaotic molecular spectra of a comet. In their place, structured bands, harmonic intervals separated by exact Fibonacci ratios. The universe does not do Fibonacci. Life does. Art does. Design does. By dawn, the realization had spread through every observatory on Earth. The object was speaking, not in words, but in mathematics, the only true universal language. The pattern was beautiful, terrifying, undeniable. A self-similar sequence, fractal in energy and time, repeating across visible, infrared, and radio frequencies. When converted into sound, it produced a resonant tone, a chord of F-sharp minor rising into harmonic overtones. It was as if the void itself was humming, and yet the signal was local, directed. The source geometry pointed unmistakably toward the plane of Earth's orbit, toward us. For the first time, humanity found itself not as observer, but as the observed. NASA's Deep Space Network triangulated the emissions. They weren't random flares, they were beacons, each pulse perfectly timed with Earth's orbital position, correcting for light speed delay, as if accounting for where we would be when the signal arrived. That level of calculation implied knowledge, awareness, and then came the image. The James Webb team, operating from L2, captured a faint but distinct silhouette as Atlas passed the sun's limb, a lattice of hexagonal panels, each rotating independently, linked by filaments thinner than spider silk, glowing with residual heat. The structure spanned several kilometers, hollow at its center, with a central cavity resonating at precisely 1,420 megahertz. The hydrogen line again. the frequency of neutrality, of silence between atoms, the frequency of intelligence. It was no longer a hypothesis. It was architecture. The ghost ship hypothesis had become reality. And yet, even in revelation came paradox. If this was truly a machine, who had built it? And why, after millions of years, was it still functioning? Dr. Avi Loeb's team ran simulations, estimating its age from isotopic decay and micrometeoroid impacts. The numbers were staggering, at least 7.4 billion years, older than the Earth, older than our Sun. Born perhaps from a generation of stars that no longer exist, whatever had forged it had done so when the universe itself was still young, half its current age. But then another question emerged. Was it alive? Because what Webb observed next defied even the concept of machinery. The object's internal temperature fluctuated in a rhythmic pattern, too complex to be thermal cycling, too ordered to be random. The pattern mirrored the structure of neural oscillations, delta, theta, alpha, frequencies associated with consciousness itself. Could it think? Could it dream? Or was it merely remembering, a machine still performing the last command given by masters long dead? In the following days, global agencies formed an emergency consortium. NASA, ESA, CNSA, JAXA, even private companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin joined forces under a single code name, Project Mirror. Its purpose was simple, terrifying: to answer the question the universe had asked, do we respond? Debate raged in secret. Some argued silence was the safest choice, that in the dark forest of the cosmos, noise invites predators. Others believed to stay silent was to deny the very essence of humanity, curiosity. Michio Kaku's voice echoed through interviews. Science begins with wonder. To fear discovery is to fear ourselves. And yet he too understood the risk, so they compromised. Instead of transmitting, they reflected. A passive mirror array, 12 satellites forming a synchronized optical relay, would redirect sunlight in precise pulses mimicking Atlas's Fibonacci pattern. No message, no language, just reflection. A hello made of light. On December 12th, at 0400 UTC, the array activated. 12 bursts, perfectly timed, then silence. 18 minutes later, Atlas replied. Not with light, but with magnetism. Every magnetometer on Earth, from Greenland to Antarctica, registered a pulse, a coherent wave sweeping through the planet's field, synchronized with the object's signal delay. The Earth itself had just been touched, gently, deliberately, by something beyond comprehension. The data poured in. The pulse carried structure, binary modulations woven into its amplitude, like data compressed within the heartbeat of a planet. Decoding attempts began immediately. Some claimed it resembled prime number sequences. Others saw geometric symmetries. A few insisted it was a form of self-replicating code, quantum compression designed to evolve when interpreted. But one truth united all interpretations. It was not random. The ghost ship had answered, and in doing so, it had changed everything. For the first time, humanity was not just looking into the dark was looking back. Weeks passed, and the object's emissions stabilized into a steady hum, almost like a cosmic dial tone, waiting. Then, abruptly on December 24th, it began to accelerate. The velocity shift was subtle at first, 0.3 kilometers per second, but unmistakable, a self-directed maneuver. It turned, not away from the Sun, but along the plane of Earth's orbit, skimming the line between Mars and Earth. Its projected path would bring it within 0.8 astronomical units of our planet by March 2026. Panic spread through back channels. Was it approaching us or aligning for something else? NASA denied everything. The official statement referred to natural outgassing behavior. But every physicist on the inside knew that was impossible. A comet doesn't choose its path. A machine might. And then came the final paradox, the one that tore through every assumption we've ever made about the universe. At 11:42 UTC December 29th, the Webb telescope captured what looked like replication. Small luminous spheres, 9 of them, separated from the primary structure, arranged themselves in a geometric formation and began orbiting it in perfect synchrony. Each emitted the same 1,420 megahertz tone. Each pulsed with the same Fibonacci rhythm. A swarm, a convoy, or perhaps a choir. Whatever Atlas was, it was no longer alone. For 3 days, the formation held steady, then dispersed, each fragment on its own precise trajectory, fanning outward like seeds on the solar wind, some toward Jupiter, some toward Earth, some into the void. It was deliberate, it was methodical, it was intelligent, and then silence again. Today, astronomers continue to track those fragments, each one radiating faint magnetic pulses, each one whispering a language we are only beginning to decipher. We stand at the threshold of something vast, something that blurs the line between science, philosophy, and faith. Are we witnessing the relics of a lost civilization? A galactic probe designed to awaken when new intelligence arises? Or the first seeds of contact sent to test, to measure, to see if we are ready? Whatever the truth, one fact remains. The laws of physics still hold. It is our understanding of them that trembles. Perhaps this was never about finding others. Perhaps it was about being found. And as I look at those spectral harmonics repeating across the cold silence of space, I realize something humbling. We've spent centuries shouting into the void, sending messages, broadcasting dreams, begging the universe to notice us. But maybe it already did, long ago. Maybe we were never the senders. Maybe we were always the reply. If 3IATLAS is a messenger, its message is not written in language or code. It is written in reflection, in the way curiosity mirrors across civilizations, across time. So when it comes back into full view, when its light once again touches our world, the question will not be whether we're alone. It will be whether we're ready. Because the next time it speaks, it might not be with light, it might be with understanding. And when that moment comes, we must decide, not as scientists, but as a species, what story we want to tell the universe. Do we remain silent, hiding in the shadows of fear? Or do we answer with wonder, with courage, with the same curiosity that brought us from caves to stars? The cosmos has spoken. The ghost ship has awakened. And somewhere, in the hum between hydrogen atoms, it waits for our reply.